Alright, I don't really know where the hell to begin. This whole thing, it happened so fast. I've never experienced anything like this before in my entire life, and I'd bet nobody else has either. Maybe you guys can help me out because I think I'm going fucking crazy. Right now, I'm sitting at some shitty table in the mental health ward of my local hospital, trying to piece this story together from the beginning. I guess I'll start from where I think everything started happening, about a week ago. Just some background information. I'm a 16-year-old high school student, male, who lives in a small town in Illinois. I have a nice family. I'm an only child with a loving mother and father. I go to school every day, come home, and play video games, surf the web, go to sleep, and repeat. Pretty mind-numbing, but I honestly don't mind it. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. This all started about a week ago in my bedroom at about 4 o'clock in the morning. For no reason at all, I woke up. Now, I never get up this early, and usually, when I'm able to, I'll sleep into noon. But something jolted me from my sleep that night. I sat up in my bed and rubbed my eyes, looking around my room. Something instantly fell off, which is why I was scanning my room in the first place. Then, I found it. Sitting in my desk chair with its back turned to me was the outline of a person, just sitting there. I stared at it for a while, but it didn't move. Even when my eyes adjusted to the dark, I was able to make out what it was. A simple shadow of nothing, I told myself. It was probably a pile of clothes that was stacked oddly. So, with my new reassurance in mind, I laid back down and went back to sleep. Within seconds, I was back to sleep like a baby, and woke up soundly the next morning. The matter seemed so small to me at the time that I had completely forgotten about my late night incident when I woke up at around 7 in the morning. I didn't even notice that there was absolutely nothing stacked on my chair. Nothing that could have made that shape. I slipped out of my pajamas and into some clothes, brushed my teeth, and went downstairs for some breakfast before I headed out to school. My mom and dad were in the kitchen, eating cereal and chatting with each other. I wasn't a morning person, so I didn't talk much. We exchanged our good mornings, and that was that before heading out the door. Nothing happened the rest of the school day, at least nothing worth mentioning. I went to my classes and hung out with my friends, then walked back home like any other ordinary day. When I got home, I immediately rushed up the stairs and towards my room, as was my daily ritual. Something stopped me at my doorframe, however, because sitting in my office chair with their back turned to me was a boy around my age. My stomach sank as I was reminded of last night all in one crashing sensation. Obviously, since it wasn't dark out, I got a better look at the kid. To me, he just looked like an ordinary teenage boy. Looking back on it now, my dumbass hadn't even realized that he was wearing the exact same clothes I was wearing that day. What are you doing?" I asked, in a tone I tried to make sound stern, but my voice shook. There was absolute silence. After a few more awkward seconds, the boy stood up slowly and faced me. Then he just walked right past me, down the stairs, and out the front door. This fucker just walked right out of my house without acknowledging me, or telling me what he was doing in the first place. I know I should have followed him and attempted to get answers, but I was too stunned. I simply stood there for a few minutes before confronting my parents about it at dinner. I asked if they had invited a kid over without telling me. I know, a ridiculous question. Nobody would ever do that, but that was the only logical answer I could come up with. My parents had no idea who I was talking about, and seemed to be just as unnerved as I was. Thankfully, they believed me, and my dad and I ensured we had all the doors locked before going to bed that night. However, later that night I was rudely pulled from my sleep once again. This time, there was a reason for it. I heard someone's voice. I sat up in my bed and listened for the voice again. A few seconds passed and I heard it again. It was very close and coming from the wall to my left. I turned my head and saw a figure of a person standing next to my bedside. I almost had a fucking heart attack, as the figure just stood beside me and talked. The problem was that they were saying words, but they weren't making any sense. They were English words, and I understood the individual words, but the sentences weren't making any sense. He spoke with such a soft voice, not whispering, but not talking normally. I don't remember everything this creepy fuck said, but here are some of the sentences I remember. Wash it. The yard, it's cold. Yes, old friend. No, don't think him. He's turning it inside out. Please, don't enter the home. Like any normal person in this situation, I lost my shit. I practically leaped backwards out of my bed and fumbled for the lamp. When I pulled the switch and flooded the room with light, it was gone. There was no trace of anyone ever being here. My head felt like it was spinning, and I rushed downstairs to wake my parents up. I managed to tell them everything that had happened in my semi-panic attack state. They believed me once again, and my dad went upstairs to find out if there was anything still lurking up there. He came down about 10 minutes later with nothing. My mom suggested we call the cops, but my dad, being a cop, told her there was no point, since whoever was here had clearly left. So all three of us stayed awake the rest of the night and made sure whoever was in my room didn't return. It didn't return, at least not for a while. About a week passed since that incident. Although my parents believed my story, I was beginning to doubt myself. If it were a real person, how did they vanish as soon as I turned on the light? It just didn't make any sense. I tried forgetting all about it and began sleeping in my room again. I was half expecting to be woken once again by that thing when I returned to sleeping in my room, but to my surprise, I woke up soundly the next morning to my alarm clock. I breathed a sigh of relief and did my daily morning routine before heading downstairs for breakfast. When I made it downstairs and entered the kitchen, I almost threw up. My parents were sitting in their usual spots with their cereal, talking to each other. Sitting in my spot was that thing, that fucking kid. It was eating cereal like my parents, but they weren't acknowledging it. Even though it was doing nothing out of the ordinary, it seemed so out of place. What the fuck? I shouted, jolting my parents' attention over to me. What? My mother asked in a panic. It's there! It's right fucking there! I shouted, pointing at it. What is? You don't see it? He's right there! They couldn't see it. The boy just sat there, refusing even to acknowledge me shouting at it. It just sat there and ate cereal like it was lost in time. My parents looked genuinely scared, but it wasn't for the reason I was scared. So now fast forward one day later, and here I am, in the mental health ward in my local hospital. Writing everything down on my phone, I snuck in here. My doctor says writing things down might help me. They all think I'm crazy, saying there was an imbalance in my brain that caused me to hallucinate. They think I had a mental breakdown of some sort. The thing is, I started to believe them. That was the only explanation to it. It's not possible for a person to disappear in a split second. It's not possible for you to see something someone else can't. All these things don't make any sense. I thought the doctors must be right. I'd gone crazy for some unexplained reason. There was literally no other possible explanation. Here's the problem, though. My parents came to visit me this morning, and sitting right next to them, right fucking beside them in my hospital room, was him. He was wearing my clothes, he had my hairstyle, and hell, he was even sitting with my posture. Nobody sees him, but he's fucking real. I don't know what to do. Am I insane? Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's narration. I want to give a huge thanks to last month's $5 and up patrons: Starless, Tara, William L, Linda H, Christopher B, Hunter D, Letty M, Ronnie K, Lake S, Meg C, Tim D28, Mr. Creeps, and all of the $2 and up patrons on screen as well. All of your support makes these narrations possible, and I appreciate it a ton. If you'd like to join these lovely ghouls, I'd appreciate it if you check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get an exclusive narration that will never, ever be uploaded to my channel. Usually, one a bit too extreme for YouTube. So that's at least one extra video every month for just $1, if not more. For $2 a month, you'll get thanked in the end scroll of every video, and for just $5 a month, I'll shout you out at the end of every video personally. You also get exclusive Discord roles for those perks as well. If you'd like to chat with me for a bit, you can join me on a monthly live stream for just $10 a month and get a signed merch sticker for $25 a month. And if you're in the market for some horrifying shirts and hoodies, you can head on over to my Teespring store in the description as well. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at SecondClancy. I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Have a good night, everybody. Cheers.